job ain't finished. The job ain't finished. Make sure you come ready to go this next week.
How about those?
Are you ready for the best Kansas City Chiefs insight? Welcome to the Four Guys in a Bar podcast, presented by Chiefs Blitz and sponsored by Eric Haynes with the Eric Haynes Group. If you're looking for a real estate expert, call Eric Haynes today at 816-729-3785. That's 816-729-3785. Now here is your Chiefs Blitz host, Nick Athan, with Lou Montagna, Andre Tillman, and Hense Todd.
Welcome back to the next edition of Four Guys in a Bar. I'm your host, Nick Athan. It's going to be two guys in a bar today. We'll bring in Lou Montagna here in a few minutes. But first, let's talk about our sponsor of the show. And ahead of the big news of the day that broke between 12 a.m. and 6 a.m., the Chiefs have a new wide receiver in the house. First up, let's talk about my good friend, Mr. Eric Haynes, with the Eric Haynes Real Estate Group. If you're looking for someone who can walk you through the process of buying or selling a house, there's nobody I trust more than Eric Haynes. He took care of me and Emily when we were looking for a house. It took 9 months. He held our hand. He negotiated on the other side with a real estate agent. It wasn't a pleasant experience at the time, but at the end of the day, despite the long time for it took to close, he walked us through the process and he got the job done. And that's all that matters. Just get the job done. So give Eric Haynes a call today at 816-729-3785, or you can email him at esaleskc@gmail.com.
Proud sponsor of Chief Who?
Absolutely. Another great proud sponsor is my incredible, amazing wife, Emily Athan. If you are looking for a flexible health coverage option, she is your one-stop source when it comes to finding the right plan. You might be on a COBRA plan, looking to get on a private plan. You might need an ACA plan. All sorts of options are available. Open enrollment begins November 1st, which is in about a week, and it'll last through December 15th. So this is your window to make sure you get the right health insurance plan for you and or your family or small business. So call her today at 913-215-9086.
Emily.
All right, and our new sponsor, the guys that resell electronics. If you're looking to buy a cell phone, a tablet, a laptop, game console, TVs, home audio, and so much more, they buy and sell consumer electronics. This is your one-stop shop. Listen, they got two great locations in Nolan Road, in Independence. I mean, one on Nolan Road, one on 40 Highway. And again, it's the holiday time. It's coming up. You want to get that special electronic gift, or maybe you just want to get rid of an old gaming system, whatever it might be. They're your one-stop shop. Go home today. 816-886-7285.
Resell.
I like that. I like that a lot. Well, I'm Nick Athan, host of brought to you by Chiefs Blitz, Four Guys in a Bar. That is Lou Montagna. The seniors are running the show today, and we got the kid in the back. Mango's running the board for us today, so we appreciate him stepping in for Hense, who is unavailable today. He's got a big-time job at the Big 12 Media, and also a coach, Andre Tillman, has got something going on with the family. So it is us, and it's been an interesting morning, afternoon in Kansas City. The midnight last night, Brett Veach called up the general manager of the Tennessee Titans and said, that deal we've been discussing for DeAndre Hopkins, well, let's see if we can wrap it up. So about 6 a.m. this morning, they did as far as the parameters of the trade. And then it took 4 or 5 hours to see how the money was going to shape out. But the bottom line is that, here's the deal, a 5th-round pick that can be the incentive is it could be a 4th-rounder. And the deal is very simple. If the Chiefs win the Super Bowl, the Titans get the 4th-round pick, or DeAndre Hopkins plays 60% of the remaining snaps available on offense for the Chiefs in the regular season, then that also kicks in the 4th-rounder. So at the end of the day, this is luxurious need for DeAndre Hopkins and some draft picks. And I think the Chiefs got the better end of both deals. And I'm very excited for this move. I thought he was the best fit, Lou. I thought he made the most sense. I thought it'd be the most difficult of the deals to get done because of his age and his love for Tennessee and Nashville. He loved it there. They paid him a lot of money. And the good news is the Chiefs owe him $2.5 million this year because the Titans are picking up half the pay. And next year, his salary cap hits only $5.5 million, and they don't have to pay any of that other bonus money. So I think this is a win-win trade for Kansas City.
All right. So first off, we're all here for the OWG version of four guys in a bar, even though there's two. The old white guys taking the reins here from the youngsters. Hopefully it's a short-term thing because I don't know that I can do it much more than one show. But yeah, it's I guess it's just more proof for those people that I guess you have to call them haters or trolls or whatever that constantly get on Brett Veach. And I don't know where the evidence is that the guy is asleep at the switch, that there isn't a deal out there that he's not kind of hovering over or trying to be aggressive. I think I put it in the group chat. He's always hunting. Now, he may not always take a shot, right? Because you can't get in on every single deal.
Right.
Only ones that make sense. So hopefully for those folks, that's enough. But I'm assuming that once the deal was announced, it's like, well, wait a second. What about a corner? Well, what about another wide receiver? Those folks are never, ever going to be satisfied.
Right.
For you blitzers, true blitzers, be happy today. The guy made the move, the right move at the end of the day. He doesn't have to be a long-term replacement. He's basically here for the season. We hope it's a 4th-round pick, right?
Yeah.
That means that he's helped the Chiefs get to and win another Super Bowl.
Yeah, that's exactly right. We don't care about the price. It's irrelevant at this point. It's completely irrelevant,
right? Yeah,
you're right. I mean, the Veach haters were like, "Well, what about this?" I mean, I still think they're going to add a cornerback via trade, and I think they may still bring in another wide receiver. I think it's entirely possible. It just depends how they really feel about Justin Ross and Nico Remigio about stepping up.
To me, it's more how they feel about Hollywood Brown. Right. I mean, they still don't know if he's going to be available.
No, they have a better idea today. That's for sure.
Right. But he isn't signed for next year. So if there's any concern at all, there's still now, again, there's a lot of teams looking for wide receivers. I mean, San Francisco, Tampa Bay, just to name a couple. So, there's still some guys that can move. A couple of names that had come up earlier were Darius Slayton and Deontay Johnson. So if they're feeling a certain way about Hollywood Brown, one of those two guys would be interesting because they give you something a little bit different. And that might be more kind of the role that they had envisioned for Hollywood. So stay tuned. As always, be patient. Veach is going to do his job, and he does it really well. So, this is great. I think the first person I heard it from was our own anonymous Mango at, I believe, 7:11 Eastern time. And that was that was a pretty cool thing to see this morning. So thanks for the wake up call, Mango.
Yeah, it's interesting because for those that watch the show frequently, I often comment that I do not sleep. Last night I fall asleep at midnight. I'm not up till 7:15. I've got 15 messages on my phone. I've got all these things, and I'm just like, I'm not even up yet. Oh my goodness, geez, what happened?
Veach never sleeps.
Veach never sleeps, and from my understanding and what we've heard so far is the conversation started about midnight. They heated up at 3 a.m. and by 5:30, 6 a.m. they had consummated the understanding of a deal. And DeAndre Hopkins is en route to Kansas City. The agreement is done. He will have to sign a new contract, which, like I said, will include having him in Kansas City not only this year, but potentially next year. Again, the cap hit's only $5.5 million. But he wasn't the only surprise in the Chiefs locker room today, as we kind of have some sort of breaking news. According to Pete Sweeney, Hollywood Brown, who has been working out in Arizona, I think at the Apex or the Open, I can't remember the name of the company, but there's a rehab facility in Arizona. He is now back in the building. Rashee Rice has returned. Isaiah Pacheco was also in the building today. And before we get our hopes up, let me be perfectly clear. Rashee Rice is not playing again for the Chiefs this year. It's just not possible. Hollywood Brown, according to Andy Reid today, he put a quote out there and said, hey, he's probably a little bit ahead of schedule. If he's in Kansas City and we're still in the end of October, that's a pretty good sign, Lou, that there's a really good chance that he could be back by sometime in December, get a few games in before the playoffs, and then Juju will be back. He's going to be out at least a couple of weeks with that sore hamstring, and then Pacheco's going to return. Then all of a sudden, the deficiencies on this offense kind of change again. We can't assume that Hollywood Brown is going to be the same Hollywood Brown he was, last season. He hasn't played football in a really long time. And DeAndre Hopkins, I love the move, but he's not the 27, 28-year-old Hopkins that Kansas City is getting. He's 32. He's seasoned, but he fits the role, and he can do the Rice role, and he can do the Juju role. And if need be, he can play outside as well. So I think that, to have these guys at least back in the facility, I think is great, especially Brown. He and Hopkins were teammates in Arizona with the Cardinals, and this is a nice reunion to have. There it is right there, right on cue, Mango. It's just hard. It's hard to imagine. Look at these two guys. They struggled, to be on a winning team, and, through all sorts of crazy stuff, they finally came to Kansas City together to be reunited. So I am very, very, very excited about this move.
Yeah, well, it's good to see those guys, around the building. They can still help. I mean, they can help in their respective rooms. And if once D-Hop gets here, that could be, a familiar voice to hear, like kind of like how he got up to speed, some of the things that he should be looking for. And I'm not saying that the rest of the guys won't do that, but somebody that he's familiar with. And just the fact that he went to sleep at 1-5 and he woke up 6-0 and is going to be challenging for a Super Bowl. I'm sure he's got to be ecstatic. There's going to be a little bit more of a bounce in his step.
Oh, sure.
And again, we're not looking for him to come in and be, the 12 to 15 target guy that he's been in the past.
Right.
But if he's the one that is going to kind of, take that pressure off of Travis in the middle of the field.
Right.
He can still route people up. He's still an elite route runner and can get separation. And that's all they're looking for in somebody. And, if there's a better pair of hands in the league, I haven't seen them. Right. He may not be the best, but he's certainly among the top 2 or 3. The one interesting thing is this, though, because I can't even recall a time, maybe with Kadarius Toney, where Patrick has thrown a 50-50 ball along the sideline. Mm-hmm. You see, it's almost like a staple in a lot of these teams' offenses. Sure. You probably saw it a lot Monday night with Russell Wilson and George Pickens, right? I mean, he's just bigger. He's just a bigger athlete than whoever's covering him. So they just throw it up. And that was a lot of times a lot of D-Hop's game, whether it was in Houston, Arizona, hell, even Tennessee for a few games with Will Levis. So that'll be interesting to see if they can kind of incorporate that into the Chiefs offense, at very least in the red zone, in the end zone, to try to, just kind of take advantage of that matchup.
Yeah, I think what I find interesting about this move in particular is that, you make a great point. They're going to be able to do that. I mean, they're going to be able to throw. Justin Watson might be the closest to it, that they've done, but I don't think any of those throws have happened this year with him.
No.
And you look at what he's done in Tennessee, and he just excelled at that. He excelled at the sidelines, and he excelled, going over the middle, running those underneath routes and getting first downs. And that's all that the Chiefs want out of DeAndre Hopkins. And, I was listening to, I think it was Mike Florio this morning. He was commenting about Hopkins, and he talked to some people in Tennessee. And the conversation was last season, he hadn't lost any speed. He was still the same player, and he had over 1,000 yards receiving, 7 touchdowns. Now this year, because of the quarterback situation, is such a mess, and the quarterbacks are so bad in Tennessee. You can't really judge, but I mean, even people are critical. And then the Bills fans are, saying he's not much anymore. We got the better guy, and I Coe is a new follower. The Bills will be very unhappy. The Chiefs went to acquire Hopkins, another dangerous weapon. They're going to sweat blood, so. I mean, there's people out there who are criticizing this move, but you can't. Again, the Chiefs are the defending Super Bowl back-to-back champions. They've already gone outside of their comfort zone, already this offseason and into the regular season. Guys go down, they bring in Hunt. They bring Juju in when they have the injury to Brown. They're now bringing in Hopkins because they got the injury to Juju. And what people don't understand, and this is really, really important, when you look at the value of this trade and what it really means is Right now, the Chiefs are 6-0. They have a 2+ game, 2.5, 3-game lead over anybody else in the AFC. They played the hardest portion of their schedule, and they've got 3 or 4 games coming up that are all winnable. Maybe Buffalo might be a little bit more difficult, but over the next 3 weeks, they've got the Raiders, the Bucs, who are now depleted at wide receiver, and then the Broncos. That gives them 3 weeks to kind of incorporate some of these guys, get some of the injured back to see if maybe they can come back in a few weeks. This is just all part of the process for one thing: December, January, and February football.
Right.
And that's it. That's what this move was today.
Yeah, I mean, they look at, obviously, because of the success that they've had and just the culture around the building, that's kind of what they look for. The regular season, you got to play it, right? You have to get through it. You have to win enough games to get to the dance, but that's what it's all about is having the guys healthy and effective enough to take advantage of all the opportunities that come, once the regular season's over.
Right.
As far as these other fan bases, I just love it when you start hearing all the vitriol and just kind of like, well, this guy's not any good, that guy's not any good. Basically, what it tells me is we thought maybe we had you where we wanted you, but now we don't anymore.
Yeah.
And OF. Here we go again.
Yeah,
it's going to be the Chiefs in the postseason. So, I kind of relish that.
And
it's fun to be on this end of things.
It is for you and I are old dogs, man. We've been around a long time. We've seen everything, but I love the narrative still. Well, the Baltimore Ravens, they're the best team in the NFL. There's no way that the Chiefs are going to lose to them, and the Chiefs go out and get D-Hop, and all of a sudden it's like, oh man, well, this kind of pushes the envelope quite a bit here.
Yeah.
This kind of says, hey, maybe they are serious. And now it's like, well, what if they add a cornerback, or what if they add yet another wide receiver? So nobody knows what Brett Veach is going to do. He did this trade with 2 weeks to go, before the deadline.
Right.
And according to Pat McAfee, sources have told him the Chiefs might not be done making moves. And I don't disagree with Pat. I've kind of heard the same thing. Cornerback makes some sense, but I know there's a report that Hunter Renfrow, the former Raiders guy, is sort of retired, but he's been working out. He was working out in the same facility that Hollywood Brown was in Arizona. I think he could be a guy that might come in just to be that veteran guy. If he's technically not retired, who knows? To me, he would be a perfect guy for this. Kind of take the role in the reps, of Sky Moore, who's really, really, God love the kid, but he's just struggling. And but Pat McAfee's pretty dialed in, and I would not be shocked if there's another major trade. And again, the Chiefs only gave up a 5 conditional 4, and so we'll see what happens. But hey, all this leads us to the big question, of the day. Will the Chiefs three-peat? And that's what this move is for. It didn't cost the Chiefs a lot, but does this help them win their 3rd consecutive championship? It isn't going to hurt.
No, no, it's certainly going to. You want to have some guys on the field that put a little apprehension in the defense's mind, in the opposing DC's mind. So DeAndre Hopkins does that. Is he going to lead the team? No, not necessarily, but I think he will open things up for others as well as himself making plays. And he doesn't again, we said it earlier, he doesn't necessarily have to be a dominant player. He just has to have his presence on the field, make the plays that he needs to make, and everything else will take care of itself. Again, based on, what we've seen so far. You had mentioned winnable games. Anytime they line up, they're favored. I don't care what what Vegas says or whatever. Now, the one game that they were an underdog were this past Sunday was in San Francisco. Make Patrick an underdog, and it's at your own peril, really. Yeah. So maybe in Buffalo, but even that would make it very difficult for Vegas to say, okay, if we make Buffalo the favorite here, are we really going to get equal money going both ways? I doubt it.
Yeah, I don't think so
But
either.
If
I mean,
you make
guy.
if you make the Chiefs the favorite, I think that there's a better chance of that. So every game they play, I think from here on out, they're going to be favored. So yeah, I mean, D-Hop, this is a masterful move.
Yep.
Again, it's not going to be for like you're making a trade with your fantasy football team, and this guy's going to put up numbers that leads you to your championship. But in real football, this is a big deal.
Well, I think I want to get to a couple of the comments here. Vincent DiCarlo, the salsa man, culture at one Arrowhead Drive is a talent and chemistry. You know, Veach could still make some smaller moves, as Ruben says. I like this one from Jerome. You may hit the nail on the head. Let's look at the moves. P. Ryan, Juju, SS, K Hunt, or Juju and K and Hunt and D Hop. What did it cost them? It cost them basically a fifth or a four, and it wasn't a huge salary.
Right.
You know, it wasn't a huge. They're not paying a lot of money. Juju, the majority of his contract is being paid by the New England Patriots. Perrine's contract is being paid by the Broncos. Hunt was a free agent.
They have no problem paying guys.
And
play for
D
other
Hop's
teams.
getting half his salary. And you know, when you look at the boil of the trade, I mean, you know, it's a good question. That's all it's counted. And you know, Reese 913 has a question. Any chance D Hop playing in KC beyond the season? Him and Rashee Rice would be crazy. And if they somehow bring Brown back, I mean, think about this for a second, Lou. If Hopkins is under contract for $5.5 million in 2025, easily absorbable by the Chiefs, makes a lot of sense. Let's say they bring Juju back for a 1-year deal, maybe around the same kind of money, and I think he would do it. And they get Brown and say, listen, you know what? It didn't work out this year. We'll give you the same deal. So the Chiefs could have Rice probably by let's say end of October, best case scenario. They would have Worthy, who would be a little bit more seasoned, Juju, Hopkins, Hollywood,
right?
Kelsey for one more year, and Noah Gray and Wiley kind of stepping into that role.
Right. I mean,
along with Pacheco and probably Hunt.
All these moves are made from a position of strength. You're not relying on any one of these guys to come in and save the season. It's just to enhance what you already have and basically just fill in for the guys that you drafted that are injured right now. So, I mean, I don't see why they wouldn't, if it's that minimal an expense to have him here for the second year. We'll see what his health is like, what shape he's in, after the season, that's a lot of games that he'll be playing, more than he's ever played. So, he's doing a masterful job. So all these people that are trolling Veach, just go find something else to do, please.
Just stop it. All right. We'll have some more topics coming up after it, but next up, the big game is,
oh my God, this is look at that graphic.
I know.
Look at that right in the middle between Chiefs, the two old heads. Those faces off the screen. Mango, what are we doing? Do we have access to fans? Here we go, gang.
Let's play the game. All right, Kareem, you're back today. It's good to see you.
You know it, and so does everybody else. Kareem's here. He's ready to rock and roll. Kareem's still pacing the contest with 2 wins. Everybody else just watching. As always, I'm going to read off a series of concocted clues that will describe one of our Kansas City Chiefs. It's up to you to figure out who it is. If you get it before Kareem, very good. So here we go. Oh, by the way, we do have a prize for this thing. It's an overall prize, right? For the entire season. Have we decided what it is yet?
No, I'm gonna dig into my bag of tricks.
Halfway through, Nick.
I'm into my bag of tricks. I will announce that next Wednesday.
We got to get a visual. Okay, so let's go. This Chief was a first-team all-conference player his senior season. Also, that senior season, he set a school record for his position.
Got me.
Okay. In his draft year, he's been known as a diamond in the rough.
Shamari Connor.
Okay, it is not Shamari Connor.
All right.
His jersey number is more reflective of his original position.
I got nothing.
He's in these parts. He's kind of a donut.
Kareem says Roland Williams.
It is not.
Oh. Ruben says Duffy.
He's saying that's T Cuffs. I'm taking.
Yes.
Duffy. Okay.
I like that.
I've never heard that one, but
all right, Daniel. I don't know what Gator is.
Who is Gator?
Who's Gator?
We had the last Gator we had, not Leo. No, it's not Leo.
Kathy Welch, Sky Moore.
Whoa, Kathy coming in hot. No, it's not Sky Moore. It's not Steele. Gator is Carson. Okay, all right.
Okay, gotcha. I'm sorry. I should have known that.
Still Carson Steele. Yeah, Crocky J. All right, but I was thinking more Jawan Williams. Okay, last clue. Some might say he's a one-hit wonder.
I should know these. I don't know how I've gotten so bad at this kind of stuff because I'm great at trivia.
Except for
this game. I've only won like 3 times.
All right, so here we go. First team all conference his senior year.
Chris Jones. Bowtie says Chris Jones.
Not Chris Jones. School record for his position in his senior year as well.
Wallace?
That's Roland Wallace, so that's the same guy. All right.
Okay.
Diamond in the rough the year he was drafted.
What year was that?
Jersey. Come on, Nick. Jersey number more reflective of his original position. Pirine, Ross. Now we're just throwing stuff up against the wall, folks. Come on. He's kind of a donut. Williams. Is that Joshua? No, it's not Joshua. And he may be a one-hit wonder.
Got no clue.
Not bad.
Cody Fortson and Bolton. Those are the.
All
I don't
right.
think they're one-hit wonders.
Going once, twice, thrice. Sold for your chief and mine, number 12, Jared Wiley.
Oh, Bowtie, you missed that.
First team all conference at TCU.
That's right.
Set a school record for tight ends, 178 receiving yards in a game at TCU. Diamond in the rough when he was drafted. Well, if you go to Jared, you're going for diamonds.
That's
so
right.
He went to Jared. Jersey number, he wears number 12. Originally, he was a quarterback in high school. He's kind of a donut because he gets glazed all over the place here. And then one-hit wonder. Well, in 6 games, he's got 1 catch. So there you have it, gang. Chief Who for week 8, Jared Wiley.
Oh, my goodness. Much applause. Much applause.
And as always, the game is brought to you by the Eric Haynes Group.
That's right. Brought to you by the Eric Haynes Group. All right, before we continue the show, let us talk about.
Thank you for all the responses. I mean, that was my favorite part of this whole thing. Way to go. I like seeing people getting involved here.
Well, we're rolling today. Got a lot of people on the show. We really appreciate that.
Go.
Let's talk about the sponsors. They make the show go. First up, Mr. Eric Haynes with the Eric Haynes Real Estate Group. If you are looking for someone who can help you buy or sell a house in the greater Kansas City metropolitan area, there's nobody. I mean, look at that face. That is a trusted face. That is someone who's going to make sure that you get the best deal you can, whether you're buying or selling a house or trying to accomplish both at the same time. Hey, interest rates are slightly down. There's a lot of properties available in the Kansas City area. You got to find someone who's going to fight for you to get the best deal and put the best situation for you and your family. So call Eric Haynes at 886-729-3785, or you can email him at esaleskc@gmail.com.
Proud sponsor of Jared Wiley.
Jared Wiley today. Hey, another proud sponsor is my incredible wife, Emily Athan. If you're looking for a flexible health coverage option, she is your one-stop shop. Listen, there's a lot of health insurance options out there. There's a lot of plans that are bad, and there's some that are really good, and she's got access to one of the very best in the country with a nationwide PPO. Or if you're looking for an ACA plan, you qualify for that, she can get you that as well. So call her today at 913-215-9086.
Emily
That's right.
Emily.
Emily. Another new sponsor.
I don't have my lead singer, so sorry.
I know. It's just you. You're going solo today. You're doing your own You're doing your own Frank Sinatra. Resell
right.
Electronics. They're our new sponsor. If you need to buy or sell any kind of consumer electronics, they're the place to go. They've got 2 great locations, one in Nolan Road in Independence, and the other 40 Highway down in Independence, and they will take care of you. Hey, listen, it's the holiday time is coming up. We're going to get through Halloween, and then we're going to get to Thanksgiving and then Christmas. So if you're looking for that special electronic gift and you don't want to pay a price that's outrageous, take a look at their inventory. They've got everything: cell phones, tablets, laptops, game consoles, TVs, home audio, so much more. Give them a call today at 816-886-7285 or check them out on the web at resell, that's with a C, electronics.com.
Resell.
That's right. Resell Electronics. Hey, listen, we appreciate the sponsors. It's all good. Lou, as we kind of take a look back at, kind of where we sit right now. I mean, the team is 6-0. They played obviously the toughest part of their schedule. They have managed to just win ugly. They don't really care. They don't care how it's done. This is the most egoless locker room I think I've ever seen. Egoless team. They don't have any prima donnas. It's just in an era that is kind of more old school. I mean, this is an old school football team. It has a soul. It has an old soul. And you look at the experience with Patrick Mahomes and Kelsey and Reed as the head coach. You look at dominating a guy like Chris Jones. But I think Kyle Brandt said it best this morning, on Good Morning Football when he said, what, I love this team. It's just they just got workers. They just got guys that come to work, and one guy goes down, they bring another guy up, or they work so well together, and it's just remarkable to watch in an era where you don't get a lot of cohesiveness. And I think the biggest surprise for me is the injuries have just been overwhelming. And if those injuries happen to the Bengals, I mean, look at the Bengals when they lost their receivers last year. Their offense was terrible. Look at, and everybody's talking about the Ravens, with King Henry, and all of a sudden Jim Jackson is playing great. Ask him to lose 1 or 2 of his weapons. The Chiefs have lost 3 or 4 of them already. And they found replacements, but they have to make sure. They don't know for sure it's going to work, but they have that culture that is just so unique and so special.
We've talked about it a lot. I mean, it starts at the top. I mean, Clark Hunt to Andy Reid to kind of how he's kind of shaped this team, how they work out, how they do everything leading up to the season. In season, it's all right there. And you mentioned no prima donnas. There's not like a ton of mercenaries on this team.
Right.
Most of this team is either undrafted free agents, drafted guys,
right,
and then they sprinkle in some of these guys from other teams, but it's just to enhance things. Going back to our point earlier today with trading for D-Hop here or bringing Juju in, a few free agent acquisitions, but it's never somebody that they're relying, like they have to rely on to kind of carry the team, right? They've built this over time. And then that also speaks to Brett Veach and not just hitting on draft picks and the talent part of it. The most important part is the character of the guys that they bring in. Now, some of them have gotten into trouble in that, but in terms of football character,
right,
they mesh because they all know that they have to work their asses off to even get on the field. And then once they do, they have to be smart enough to, be in the right place at the right time, make the plays when they're there to be made. And that's how trust is built. And it just kind of rolls. And everybody that steps to the mic on these, on these media obligations, and when they come up, always speaks to how they kind of engage when the rookies come in, when the younger players come in, how they're basically coaching the guys that are pretty much going to replace them at some point.
Right.
So that's very special. It's happened, all through history. But at this point, I think the Chiefs have the best locker room, the best culture, And it's, you see it on the field every week. And no matter what happens, even if they lose a game, it's not like, that's it. They're done. It's just, hey, they lost, come back to work. We'll get it figured out moving forward.
Yeah. Well, I mean, that's the thing. You're right. It starts from the top, and the commitment that Clark Hunt has made, spending the money. I mean, he converted, basically giving Patrick Mahomes all that money last year, signed Jones, signed Tranquil, re-signed, Travis Kelce. He's making these positions the highest paid, and, he's got the bug now. And a lot of owners wouldn't act like this. Robert Kraft, he kind of had the same, this is what we need to do. But even there, they had that 10-year gap, before they won another Super Bowl with Tom Brady, because they didn't evolve as a team fast enough to some of the changes. With the Chiefs, because of the commitment that Clark Hunt has made and the aggressiveness of Brett Veach is making, they're making these changes every year. And in some cases now they're doing it mid-season. And, you have to have an incredible amount of trust that Clark will do his thing, Andy will do his thing, Brett will do his thing, coaches will do the thing. And then it trickles down to the players, to be able to say, okay, this is a plug and play team. Outside of Mahomes, losing him would be devastating.
Right.
Obviously.
That's where it is. It's coach, quarterback, and then, if you look at, Travis for the, up until this year so far. But again, his impact is being felt in any number of different ways in the locker room. They see a guy like that Hall of Famer that's still working the way he does. That rubs off on the entire team. I don't care what anybody says, and that his numbers are down or whatever. Fine. Whatever. We'll still take him. We'll still keep him on our team. You go figure out your team. And Chris Jones. And then everything else, again, they draft, develop, and you sprinkle in a few free agents here and there where maybe you didn't hit on a particular draft pick or you got some injuries, and we're seeing it play out. So, it's, you hate to take it for granted, but, again, we've been seeing this over the last 7 years, 6-7 years.
Right.
And it's, I'm here for it, and it's good to be on this end again.
Yeah. A good example of kind of what we're talking about, obviously the big news today, the Chiefs acquired DeAndre Hopkins. It is, according to James Palmer, who's about as dialed in as anybody with the Chiefs. The goal is to get him some reps Sunday against the Las Vegas Raiders. I think that would be a good move. I don't want him to play, 20, 30, 40 snaps, but, if they can get him 15 or 20 snaps, maybe throw a couple balls his way. We don't know which Raiders team is going to show up, the one that's always fired to play the Chiefs or the one that's just looked like, something terrible. And we're going to have breaking news here in a minute from Bowtie coming soon, so he'll let us know what that is. But I think
he missed the early on. He asked about the senior citizen thing. No, Bowtie, it's OWG.
That's right.
Old white guy. We're here. You see the numbers. It's popping. Let's go.
Yeah. All right. The other news that kind of happened yesterday, it's kind of been overlooked, is Jaylen Watson was placed on injured reserve. He will have surgery to repair his tibia and fibula. I spoke to somebody yesterday and indicated that the surgery would be able to address both at the same time. Obviously, we're talking about plates and screws and all sorts of things, but there's a chance he could be back maybe end December, sometime in January for the postseason. Again, just be another body to have. But, now that means that, Johnson's going to be in there, and he's going to have to step up. Najee Johnson.
Joshua.
Yeah.
Wallace.
It's his time to see, what can he do? And I thought he played relatively well. I think he gave up one big play. He was the starter. He was the number 2 starter going into the offseason if he was healthy coming off another injury. He's a good kid. He works his tail off. He's got a lot of talent. He's got speed. He fits the Spags mold of the kind of cornerback. And when you got, Trent McDuffie on the other side, another guy has to step up. And Watson had been doing that. I think Watson was playing at a Pro Bowl level. Yeah. It's really sad. I think his run support is something that's going to be missed. I'm not sure.
Think about that draft and the 3 7th-round picks. Najee Johnson, Jaylen Watson, Isaiah Pacheco.
That's just
come
sick.
on. Now that alone could kind of Veach certainly should get, if there's some miss somewhere, he gets a pass at some point, because most of these guys are really hitting. And that entire draft, I think all of them but one may still be on the team. DeAndre Coburn, I think he didn't washed out and then he went somewhere else or whatever. But the bottom line is those 3 7th-round picks, not only they make the team, but they're all contributors. So that doesn't happen.
No, and again, I mean, it just goes back to the brilliance of Veach, and again, all the criticism. There's a couple. And
when we say Veach, the entire staff, because the scouts have to do the yeoman part of the work and really find these guys, because I've said it a million times. You see guys in college, and you say, well, that's a Raven, that's a Steeler. I think we're getting to the point where you say, hey, that's a Chief.
Yeah. I think when you look at the scouts in particular. You're right. They're looking for guys who are going to be potential to be Chiefs that fit into the scheme, into the coaching, into the style of the team. What are the intangibles that they have? And, they also have been going after guys who are proving themselves in college. Now, they take some small college guys, and that's kind of those are the great stories in the NFL. But for the most part, they're looking at universities that know how to win and are winning programs. And I think it's great that, that they're able to trust those scouts in those situations, Lou, because, a lot of it is recommendation. And then Veach, he personally scouts these guys. He goes through video after video. He constantly is, running guys through, and his preparation time and his lead time in getting ready for a draft is quite remarkable. And he always delivers. The last 3 years, give me an NFL team that has more starters from the draft than anybody else. And the reason that the Chiefs have won back-to-back Super Bowls and can afford to pay these guys big money, they're superstars, is because what does he do? He drafts, he replenishes, he replaces, he trades Snead in the offseason. Everybody said, no, you can't do that. And L'Jarius Snead hasn't done much in Tennessee so far, and they still got that 3rd-round pick. So, when you're playing at a level like this, it's interesting. Now, there's a rumor out there. I'm going to put Bowtie up here, and we'll talk about it. But he's
started by him. So,
yes, J.C. Horn, the cornerback from the Carolina Panthers. I think he's a former 1st-round pick.
He is top 10 pick. They passed on Micah Parsons.
He's going to be. He's going to be a 5th-round guy. And, I think it's quite possible that, again, McAfee relayed to it, mentioned it. I've heard the same thing. They're not done yet. They think they're going to try to bring in another cornerback. And even though they made a cornerback move yesterday, it's not enough, but if they can get a guy like this, he's a 4-year player. His 5th-year option has already been picked up. So the Chiefs know what they're going to have to pay him next year. So it could be a guy that fits. Now they're going to have to pay McDuffie first. And the Chiefs don't generally pay corners, but I think they're going to pay Trent McDuffie. I think you're going to see an extension done over the spring.
He's I don't want to say transformational, but he would be like the shining example to the rest of the roster that, if you get picked high, you do your job, and you are one of the best in the league, this organization is going to take care of you. Now, I love this. I don't, Bowtie again. He does tend to start on some of these rumors, so we'll take it with a grain of salt. But it is a Carolina front office that you're really not sure where that whole train is headed, what direction or what. So anything can happen. Whether it's Deontay Johnson, whether it's J.C. Horn. Now, Horn's had a difficult time staying on the field. He's had some injuries. I don't know that he's ever finished a complete season with Carolina. I may be off here, but he has had some injuries early in his career. But this is the son of former Chief Joe Horn. So there's some connective tissue here. I don't know. Yeah, I think it might be an outstanding thing. I mean, certainly you get a young corner that can play. That's a huge commodity to have in this league. So we'll see. And as far as people saying, well, they may not be done yet, that's almost like a redundancy, because Brett is always hunting. And if he can find somebody that improves this roster and he doesn't have to give away the farm to do it, he's going to do it. Right. Yeah. So, I mean, we got plenty to another couple of weeks before the trade deadline. And, that's usually when most of the deals get done. It's kind of unusual that we've had this much movement, especially in the wide receiver market over the last week or two, 10 days, whatever it's been. And with whatever is going on with the Rams and who's leaking that information about Cooper Kupp.
I don't think it was not inaccurate.
If they're doing it themselves to generate a market, master stroke for Les Snead, and for a team that was saying F them picks, once they started taking the picks, they've done really well drafting. That entire team is like a bunch of drafted guys. So it'd be interesting to see what happens with.
With just so people are aware, the Cooper Kupp thing was legit. The Chiefs were in on him and they really wanted him. The problem was the Rams wanted the second round pick. And, the Chiefs have made it very clear in any of the wide receivers conversations they've had is they're only giving up a third day pick, especially if they have to eat any salary whatsoever. And that's what Veach, stuck to the gun. I mean, listen, the Chiefs are the hunted every Sunday, Lou. And then you got a GM who goes out there and he starts hunting for more players. So we're not used to this. You and I suffered for so long.
We're getting used to it, right?
We're getting used to it. And it's even for me.
Maybe we're getting a little
spoiled
out over our skis here. But yeah, a ton of wide receivers have been getting hurt. And that's the thing about Cooper Kupp is that over the last few years, it's all the ankles, the knees, especially his ankles. It seems like every year there's some sort of problem. And, again, he is up in years a little bit. His play has declined. They've got Puka in there. Now, once, Puka's still on IR, I think they just opened up his 21-day window. So, that might be part of it too. So, as far as the Chiefs being in on it, I don't think the Rams are going to get a second round pick. Again, if you leak something like that, you're going to put it, hey, we'll shoot for the moon here. Yeah. We know we're not going to get a first, but if we throw it out there that a second, maybe we'll get a third or a fourth. Yeah. I think the compensation would be similar to what the Raiders got for Devontae Adams. And then it's just the money because he's due so much money that if the Rams don't pay a significant part of it, not many teams can absorb that, to their salary cap right now. So, interesting times. These next couple of weeks are going to be pretty frenetic, I think.
Yeah. And there's some interesting times coming ahead too, because the stadium and the new Arrowhead renovation, new facility, a lot of that's going to be decided on November 5th for the election. In Missouri, they're trying to pass a law to allow legalized gambling. And what does that mean? So if you take a look at what legalized gambling means, it's very simple. If there is a gambling presence, it makes it a lot better for teams to have a partnership because the NFL already works with these casinos. And I'm convinced that no matter where the Chiefs go, whether that's to stay in the Arrowhead complex or go to Kansas City, Kansas, that they're going to have everything they want: a dome stadium, a new practice facility, hotels, shops, apartments. They're going to build a city within a city. And there's going to be a casino attached to it some way, whether that's Caesars or MGM. I mean, it's going to happen, and it's going to upset some people that maybe they moved to Kansas. But if this vote passes in Missouri, even though Mike Parsons is on his way out as governor, the incumbent potential governor has already stated, we're going to do what it takes. So I was probably 75-25 for Kansas City, Kansas. But I think right now we're looking at maybe more toward a 50-50, 55-45. Of them having a chance to stay in Missouri.
The Vegas of the heartland, a new destination in middle America. People coming from all over the place. And why not? Because, Clark wants a Super Bowl. And
sure, that too. Final Four.
Bad weather city, you gotta have a dome. But hey, if it's retractable, you got the best of both worlds. You only close it down when you have to. So money talks and all that you mentioned is just more streams of revenue, and that's what everybody's looking for. So
it's all about it's all about the coin. So get out there and vote. If you're in Missouri, this is just something that, Kansas already has it. This is an opportunity that, helps the schools out with money. But the bottom line is it allows a player to come in and help facilitate some of the money it's going to take, to build this cathedral in this mini Las Vegas town that they want to build and take advantage of it. It's Patrick Mahomes era. You got 3 Super Bowls and probably going to get a 4th this year. And who knows, get whatever you can and make it happen.
What's up next, Mango?
Excuse me.
Is this story time? Gotcha.
This is my story time.
I thought maybe this was the prize, but okay.
No, not the prize. Well, I'm not sure yet. We'll see. So as everybody knows, I'm a collector of Chiefs merchandise, and my fun time in Kansas City was growing up being a Chiefs fan. And Hank Stram was my neighbor growing up, and so I found these license plates. 2 of them I found online. 2 of them I found at a garage sale. And the one to the left is Hank Stram and Otis Taylor, my second favorite Chiefs player of all time. And there's a picture of them at Super Bowl 4. And then the Wolfpack one and the Len Dawson signed by Hank and Lenny. And the picture of Lenny coming off the field in the Super Bowl 4. I always thought that this was going to be my last venture into a Super Bowl. And so when I got these, I thought, well, this is really cool. Then the Chiefs win the Super Bowl again in 2019-20. And, it was great. And so as I talk about this, Lou, I want to get your take on this. You and I are similar ages, but what was that one moment, 40 years ago or so, where you said, this is my team. I'm a Chiefs fan.
I've probably brought it up before, but it was the Christmas Day playoff game, the Dolphins and the Chiefs. Now, interestingly enough, they lost that game. I don't know what that says about me, but I like the look. I mean, I'm 8 years old at the time, right? So
right.
Not even. I was going on 8. I would have been 8 that March. So this was the Christmas before that. So anyway, it was just you looked at the players, and to me, it seemed like, wow, they look so much better than the other team. They missed a bunch of field goals, whatever. But you saw at the time, and again, being 7 or 8, you don't realize how old maybe some of these guys were. That Lenny was, kind of at the end of his career. Bobby Bell, Buck Buchanan, Emmett Thomas. I mean, Ed Podolak was still kind of young. Elmo,
that was his rookie year, yeah.
Elmo was still a young player.
Elmo, right.
Otis was, again, he was kind of at the end or close to the end. So, but to me, they just looked so cool. And then the coach, he's wearing the raincoat. I mean, he just looked like, and Shula's on the other side. He looks like he's soaked, whatever. But, that was pretty much it. Now, again, it was in a losing attempt, but it was like, wow, this team's really good. It was really cool. And then the following season, I didn't get to see them much, right?
Yeah.
I mean, where I'm at in Pennsylvania, in a regional game, usually it was either at Arrowhead against the Raiders or in Oakland against the Raiders. And I tell you what, the one time they came up to Buffalo for a Monday night game, and according to the NFL, Buffalo is our team because it's within 90 miles. It didn't sell out.
Yep.
I didn't get to see it on TV because the game was blacked out. So I have to listen on the radio. But yeah, to answer your question,
I don't like the blackout rules. They're stupid.
That Christmas Day game. Well, now in this day and age, it's But anyway, that was the day, and it's been like a marriage. It's been up and been a bit of a roller coaster. Had some really lean years, some really good years. But then the last 6 or 7 years have been like, wow.
Yeah, I tell everybody, enjoy this because it can go away in a flash, and you never know. And I never ever thought that I would see this time of Chiefs football where they were the it team.
Yeah,
we watched the Steelers, we watched the 49ers, we watched the Cowboys, we watched the Patriots twice. Just be these incredible teams. And we have that kind of team now in an era of football that is just, it's unique. It's not the same. It's not a gladiator sport that it used to be. The injuries back then were brutal. The injuries now are just because these athletes are so good, and the guys on offense and defense are so athletic.
Being so finely tuned, because that's one thing that, back in the day, somebody got an Achilles injury, they were retired. That's it. They were done. But it didn't happen that often. Right. Whereas now, the soft tissue injuries, guys are so built and so chiseled that any little movement, you can just see, like Deshaun Watson. Anytime somebody pops their Achilles, you see it. You see the guy, there's no one near him, and all of a sudden they take a step, and you see that just kind of that kind of twitch, and it's like, oh God, this guy. But they're able to come back from them now. But and just the salary cap, so you kind of have to deal with maybe your favorite player's not there for the entire length of his career. Sometimes that's a good thing. You want to move on from guys. So it's just when you hear like Tom Brady talk about the Chiefs and with some reverence, when you hear of all people, and I hate to be quoting him, but Mike Florio talk about the Chiefs like they are the tremendous dynasty that they are, for him to finally be convinced and not be so cynical that it's just kind of warms your heart to say, like,
it does. When you can break Mike Florio, you've done a good thing.
Yeah. So this is about us now. Okay. This is our time.
All right. Before we go, I want to shout out to a few people on the boards. I want to thank Gary and Ruben for coming in. Kathy, we appreciate your patronage as well. Mr. Paris, a new sponsor, is coming on board in December. He's going to be here. Bowtie, we keep hearing, man. When's this thing going to happen?
What's the wrench for there, Hense?
I'm not sure. I'm not sure.
It's a neat little thing to add, but is there a story behind the wrench?
Yeah, Jerome's been in. We appreciate him very much. All you guys, Paul, for being a new subscriber. Appreciate you very much for doing that as well. Kareem's back in the house. I reached out to him yesterday to make sure he was all good.
Nice to see Kareem back. The sign of life is given. Beautiful.
And Vinny was in the house.
You didn't get it this week, though. So
come on, Vinny. When are we getting our custom sauce, man? We've been begging for months and months. Ikoe came in as well. Chief came in as well. Again, we appreciate all you guys so much. You're the heart and soul, the blitzers of this show. And so we're going to climb out. We're going to climb out. We're going to talk about the sponsors one more time.
Tell your friends. Tell your family.
Please
subscribe. Get them in here. Come on. Let's go.
All right. So first up, we're going to talk about my good friend, Mr. Eric Haynes, with the Eric Haynes Real Estate Group. If you're looking for someone who can help you buy a house or sell a house in the greater Kansas City area, 816-729-3785 or email esaleskc@gmail.com.
Proud sponsor of Chief Who?
Other proud sponsors, my amazing wife, Emily Athan. Open enrollment is set to begin November 1st. That's in about 8 days through December 15th. So if you're looking for an ACA option or a private option, there's nobody better that understands the insurance market. She's got a flexible health coverage opportunity for you that has access to a nationwide PPO through an amazing company, United Healthcare. Give her a call today at 913-215-9086.
Emily.
Emily, that's right.
Emily.
And lastly, the guys at Resell Electronics. If you want to buy or sell any consumer electronics of any kind, give them a call at 816-886-7285. No matter what you're looking for, cell phone, tablet, laptop, game consoles, games, TVs, home audio, so many different electronic options. And remember, it's the holidays coming up. They've got 2 great locations in Independence on Nolan Road and 40 Highway. That's Resell Electronics. You can email them at resell.electronics.com.
Resell. Hey, Bowtie, I see you always working. Pimping ain't easy, buddy. Yeah, I hear you. I hear you.
All right. Well, they're gonna break the news. He's onto something here potentially. So we'll see what the next move is. Hey, listen, we went through the whole show. We mentioned the Raiders once. It is Raiders week, and on Friday we will preview.
Oh yeah, we'll save that.
We'll preview the Las Vegas Raiders and the Kansas City Chiefs in what I'm going to call the Frog Bowl. I think Patrick Mahomes is going to go off. We'll see what happens, but nonetheless, Daniel, also thanks for being a paid subscriber. We appreciate that as well. Anyway, guys, that's it. It's just me and Lou today. We'll have the crew back on Friday, 1:30 Central Time. Please like our stuff. Please tell your friends, subscribe, download these, retweet them on your personal Twitter, your Facebook, whatever it can be to help share and get the word out about the Four Guys in a Bar Chiefs Blitz podcast. We appreciate it. So Lou, peace, my brother.
Hey, we got it done.
We did a whole hour.
No bathroom breaks.
No, for me, that's amazing.
I'm wearing my Depends just in case.
Oh, there you go. There you go.
All right, gang. Thanks for showing up.
All right. Peace out, everybody. We'll talk to you guys Friday. Thank you.